And we finished this work function. We went back to her place, sat down, made a cup of tea, and I looked at her and I blurted it out.
What did you say?
I stumbled and I stumbled and I stumbled. I'm like, look, I've got something I have to tell you. This is really hard. I haven't told anyone yet. I don't know what to say. I'm a woman, and it was just this point where I just didn't know how to dance around it anymore. I couldn't work out how to soften it. I was just like, boom, there it is on the table. And she just looked at me, and she'd known me for probably about 4 years by this point, and she was just like, what? Oh my God, are you okay? So it was this relief. She looked me in the eye, and for the first time in my life, I could see that someone was actually looking at me, and it was an unbelievable experience.
I know, but I sort of, you described that so well that I'm imagining being there, and it's as if I'm imagining that all your fear just melted away all at once. You weren't scared anymore. You'd let it out. Mm-hmm. What an amazing experience. And this woman that you confided in must have been instrumental, because this is only 2 years ago, in helping you to reach the decision that you are now, like I say, you're on the cusp of actually going through formally and properly, and you are going to make the leap from being a man into a woman. Mm-hmm.
She definitely held my hand. There were some specific events that led to the final alarm bell, as we refer to it.
Can you tell me some of those events?
The major event, and they all seem to be around work functions.
You must be the life of the party, Steve.
Went to a work function. We had a team meeting down in Sydney, and I'd been up since 3 o'clock in the morning because I'd had to catch flights down, and it was about 11 o'clock at night. I was very, very tired after a long day of business and a rather long evening of celebrating finally being with the team again after so long. So I decided to walk back to my hotel. On the way back to the hotel, I had a stranger, someone I'd never seen before, call me a rather crass name, and a very crass name for gay. I was used to that. I get that a lot. I have done for many years. And so I ignored it, as I always do, and I just kept my head down and kept on walking, and then suddenly realised I was on the ground, and this person had actually walked past and king hit me, and it was a very scary experience, because after he did that, and I finally realised, hang on, I'm on the ground, I'm in a lot of pain, my wallet and a phone is beside me, hang on, my other phone's over there, what's just happened? No one helped. People literally stepped over me and were walking past me, and one person actually walked past the phone that had gone to the other side of the path, and without making any form of eye contact with me while I was on the ground, with their foot kicked it over to me and kept on walking. And so I felt incredibly isolated. It was a really horrible experience. I think not so much because of the actual physical violence, but more because I just really felt alone in that moment. And I got back to the hotel and I spent the entire night awake, obviously rather distraught, and I realised I am still receiving all of this negative energy from people who don't understand the gay lifestyle, and I'm being persecuted for playing the role of something I thought was more acceptable to make other people's lives easier. Well, if I'm still going to get persecuted for that, I may as well at least have the opportunity to experience being myself in this lifetime. And that was shortly after I made the decision to start coming out to more people, and to start looking down the road of transitioning to myself.
I hope you do realise, Steve, listening to your story, I hope you do realise that you are an incredibly remarkable person. Do you realise that about yourself?
Happily average who's been through a couple of extra experiences.
No, you are remarkable. There's no question about that. I can't imagine the struggles that you've been through, and that story that you just mentioned there illustrates exactly. And you're very on the ball. You're very in touch with yourself, and it's rare to find a person like that. Just a few quick questions. As I say, this isn't the last time we're going to talk to you. We're going to talk to you throughout your journey, which I believe it could be anywhere more than a year. Is that about right?
In fact, the journey could take even longer than that. I don't live full-time yet. I probably won't until late this year, and from that point it will it'll probably be you have to live full-time for a minimum of 12 to 18 months
before you can go through the
surgeries.
Right, okay. So we are talking the full surgery eventually. That's what you're aiming for. That is your goal. Yeah. And there is a very stringent and I have to admit, seems very well thought out, and there's all kinds of steps you have to take, and it's all aimed at ensuring that you know exactly what you're doing and that you are not going to regret the decision, okay, because it's a huge step you're taking. And I've looked at the process that you're about to go through. It sounds to me very sensible and very apt, and it sounds like you don't disagree with it at all. A few quick questions, though, because I just want to get through a few before we talk to you next time. Who pays for this? Somebody asked me today, are the taxpayers paying for this? Do you get it through Medicare? I know it seems like a really crass question probably, but there are people who'd be curious to know.
No, we receive no support.
So you have to fund this all yourself? We
do self-fund the entire process, from the hormone replacement therapy costs right through to the final surgery.
And an expensive process, I would imagine.
A very expensive process.
So clearly you believe in this.
Yes, indeed.
What I like about it too, Steve, is you've got a really good sense of humour about this, and I know that from the conversations we've had prior to this. Because it's no walk in the park, this. There. It's no walk in the park from what I've read. This is... it's serious surgery. It's got plenty of risks along the way. You really must believe very strongly in what you're doing to be doing this, because
you have to realise that this particular journey isn't a choice. It's not, and that's what we try to explain to people. Why would you go through public persecution voluntarily? B, why would you risk never having a life partner again? C, why would you risk the side effects of the medication, which can include everything from heart attacks to strokes, to there's a far increased risk of cancers. These are the things that we face, and these are the things that part of the standards we have to abide by. We have to demonstrate an understanding of all of these risks. If I didn't have to do this, I would not do it. There is no choice here at all.
Now listen, Steve, the phones are going absolutely crazy here tonight. I'm going to leave it there, because we are going to talk again, I hope, many times throughout your journey. You are an amazing person, firstly, because of the fact that you are brave enough to confront who you are. All of us have the same challenge in different ways of owning up to who we are. Every person has that challenge. You've just got it in quite an extreme way. You are stepping up to the plate. You're actually trying to be the person that you were born to be, and you've come on Time to Talk and spoken about it. And by the way, you're speaking to the most tolerant listenership in the whole of Australia, so I hope that you appreciate that.
Look, I really do appreciate you having me on the show, and I do definitely look forward to keeping you updated on the progress of this journey.
We really look forward to it. Thanks so much for your time tonight.